Hi, welcome to our video. We are a Grandma's Trio, and today we're going to be talking about Marina Abramović's The Artist is Present. There is a 2012 documentary by Matthew Akers, and we're going to be discussing it through the lens of Lacan's The Mirror Stage. I'm Mars, I use they, them pronouns, and this week I'm sick. So please forgive me if I'm sneezing or coughing or sounding congested, because I am.
I'm Molly. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm also sick, so I'm also be coughing.
I'm Corey. I use they, them pronouns. I am thankfully not sick. All right. Yes, thank you. We will begin now with explaining what the mirror stage is, as Lacan defines it. And so, what is this mirror stage? It is occurs in an infant's life, like around 6 months or so. And this is not literal, it is a metaphor. That's important to specify. So in case there is a person, say, can't see or doesn't have access to a mirror or reflective surface, not exclusive thing that needs to happen. But so the mirror stage is the point at which the child is able to recognize, I'm so sorry for this noise, they recognize themselves in the mirror, distinct from, the world around them. So they're taking, there's, for example, if the child sees themselves and they will move their hand and the reflection moves their hand back, they're able to manipulate this reflection. That's part of the mirror stage. Yeah. And so then, what are the implications?
Bessie, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was about to say there's like a quote from the reading that I wanted to say, but go off that. But I'm sorry, I was laughing. That man behind you just like came by really unexpected. That just really got to me.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Go for it though.
Like that just reminded me of the quote where it said the function of the mirror stage. Actually, this would actually pertain to another question, but it reminded me when you were speaking. But anyway, the function of the mirror stage thus turns out, in my view, to be a particular case of the function of imagos, which is to establish a relationship between an organism and its reality.
So I guess the mirror stage is just when the child realizes itself as a separate object from the world around it, and then gives up. Hold on, let me check. We trade being for sense. So we trade being whole with the universe and being one with our caregiver for actually like knowing what is going on and like understanding the world around us. And I guess that the metaphor there is that we are all feeling that we lack something because the perfect image of ourselves is not real.
Yeah, it's like yeah, that, and how about the fact that like we'll never actually feel like whole, and like being happy isn't like that's not like the goal of human life, if that makes sense, and like that realization.
Let's pause definitions for 1 second to acknowledge that this is really dark, and Hugh, we want to acknowledge that this has come up in therapy before, like straight up. Like I know it's psychoanalysis, but it gets.
I literally had a whole therapy session about this like topic, like no joke.
As Lacan says, the sufferings of neurosis and psychosis provide a schooling in the passions of the soul. So I guess what he's trying to say is that through all of this, the mirror stage theory and whatever, like we're trying to understand what like drives people and what our motivations are and like what makes us I guess attracted to certain objects, people, etc. But yeah, sorry, I don't know if that was off topic.
No,
I think
it was good.
I think we can continue to define the mirror stage though.
Yes.
So I think we should also mention the oh man, I might butcher this. The guys.
How do you spell?
Cogito.
I don't know.
Cogito. It's like imago and
Oh, like Kajito or Kikito. I forget.
it
Hold
just
on.
sounds so wrong.
You get it.
I think it's really wrong.
It's like incognito, but not quite.
Not quite though.
Let me see if
We're
there's a.
not grammar majors.
Okay, it's cogito, according to one source.
Okay.
Okay.
Also to who? Wait, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that is the concept of like in the phrase I think therefore I am. It's like the I think part. It's like what goes on in a mind and like I guess the argument is that the mirror stage experience puts us at odds with what we think we are. So the imago that we see in the mirror is at odds with the cogito.
Yeah, I feel like it makes us real, like it makes you like more aware of the fact that like we're not whatever, or like not, maybe not even that, but more like subconsciously like not understanding like who we really are, even though you think you do.
And also I think the mirror phase, like the feeling of lack comes from, or the feeling of not being whole comes from the feeling of lack that an infant might feel, like not feeling loved enough, not feeling cared for, or feeling hungry or thirsty. Like that is like where the like not being whole metaphor comes in.
Yeah, like we talked about, like as far as we know, this person in the mirror is not hungry. That's not something they're talking about. That's just me. I'm a child and I I need to be fed right now. I need a bit of love, so on and so forth.
Something else that was really interesting was the idea that signifiers alienate us from reality. So what I wrote down from the lecture says, lapsing from the real wholeness into the imaginary and symbolic, language, laws, etc. So when the child becomes aware of himself or themselves, I'm going to say themselves, when the child becomes aware of themselves, they're like lapsing from the wholeness that they feel like with the world. And once you become aware of the world around you and like it said, language, laws, like written things, the arbitrary like facts of everyday life, like you become alienated from the wholeness you once felt because of the arbitrary things that like, I guess human nature. I mean, we need written language to communicate, but I guess I think that's what Lacan is saying.
I think so,
Yeah,
for sure. And like when it like comes to like who it's happening to, I feel like literally everyone, like when we were talking about in class about how like, oh, like, but they didn't have mirrors and like, I don't know when, well, but they had like
when were mirrors invented?
I don't know. But they had like water, you know, can be is like a reflection, or like copper. I don't know. I don't think it can see reflection of copper, but like some sort of metal.
if it's really polished, I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, and I feel like everyone who like is kind of like introduced into like society does, and like maybe like who not is like kind of difficult, but like Hugh was saying in class, um like Buddhists are like like some of like people that are closest to the like overcoming that feeling of not being whole. So yeah, I feel like that's really interesting too.
I also wanted to bring up the idea that the way Hugh put it, we go through the mirror stage because humans come out not fully cooked. So we're like basically incapacitated. We can't walk. We can't use our hands. We're literally sitting there held up by someone else in front of the mirror. And like, this is our first interaction, or like our first understanding of like ourselves. And like, all we can do is sit there and like see and hear things. And so I guess the idea is that we're like laying there like, okay, now I know the world is around me and I can't do anything about it, and I'm still relying on like my mother, and I'm like feeling not whole because I'm hungry. So I guess that kind of adds to it, just the fact that it was like adds to the lack, to the not wholeness. Oh, that's 10 minutes. If we wanted to segue into discussing the documentary. If anyone has any thoughts about the documentary really fast before we get into Lacan again.
Well, first off, I thought it was a really good documentary. Well, wait a second. So basically, I thought it was a really good documentary, and I feel like throughout it, I was definitely like, not only realizing some of Lacan, right? Lacan's points, but also like some of the stuff about the male gaze too.
Yeah. I also noticed some stuff in the documentary about the male gaze. Just like, I don't know, I really liked in the very beginning, there was like a bunch of naked people behind her in the subway, and she was like fully clothed, and it just felt like, I don't know, there were some naked women, but for some reason it felt like anti-male gaze. It's like, look at me in all my clothes. But yeah, I really liked the documentary too. I actually knew about the Artist is Present beforehand because I had heard the Great Walk of China, like the walk on the wall, and I saw the clip of him like coming and sitting across from her. We really should have looked up that guy's name before we started recording. However, I'm sure that one of my group mates can do that for me while I am talking about the documentary. Everyone's typing furious.
A lot of X's, so don't expect me if I'm clicking.
Wait.
Well, you just say she had a lot of X's.
Nessa Haravoke. No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one.
It's okay. And at any rate, the documentary was I think really interesting. And yeah, does anyone want to take a stab at applying Lacan?
Hold on, I'm gonna make a bit of commentary too real quick.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over you.
It's okay. So yeah, there was a lot of interesting mindsets going around. There was a part when she mentioned nobody asks why it's art anymore for like 10 years, and she kind of missed it, which I thought was funny. And like her whole thing, performance art is like a challenge to other art media. And people were like, why is this art? Next thing you know, killing somebody is going to be a form of art. And like, it did sort of go in that direction in a sense. Like there were parts where she just kind of like tore into her own flesh. People were like running into walls or into each other. And a lot of it, she said, was like interventional almost, which I thought was a really interesting choice of words. And these people were also like very dedicated to like doing 3 months of preparation for a show, for fasting for however long it was. And like the walk across the wall of China, that must have taken a lot of dedication and preparation. And they did it.
I thought of like 2 things you were saying while we were talking. The first, I feel like when you were saying like people waited there for a long time, I feel like the fact that people like that guy that got a tattoo, and he was like, I saw her like, I think it was like 42. He's like, I saw her 42.
21.
Oh, okay, 21. I don't know where I came with 42 though. Whatever, doesn't really matter. But
You doubled it.
yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I just feel like the fact that so many people like waited to just like stay like do that thing really says a lot about the mirror stage and about how much like people like really like suffer kind of because of it but not like realize it. And I feel like them like trying to go up to her is like a little bit like them like trying to be like whole, if that makes sense maybe, but like they don't even realize it. I know me and Marge were talking like if I went up and like sat like up to her, I would cry.
I cry immediately. I don't know about you guys, but like I was almost crying watching the documentary, and it's so weird that like eye contact can be that intimate. But I do think it applies to Lacan in the way Molly was saying, just that. Well, if we do want to get into Lacan here, I do remember Marina at one point saying she had a really like militaristic childhood, like didn't really have a lot of love, or like wasn't really hugged or kissed or said I love you as a child. And so she kind of tries to fill that void through her work, which really is like the mirror stage, like very loudly, because it's the lack that you feel in your childhood and then carrying it throughout your life. And like her sitting across from her ex-lover, well, lover at the time, was the first project. And that in a way is, you know, trying to fulfill like a wholeness, trying to find a feeling of wholeness. And then to repeat it again, but with like a bunch of strangers this time, it seems like she's just really trying to like grasp for that sense of like trying to be connected to the world again.
I think one of the things you were
did you see that? Okay, sorry.
One of the things you were saying reminded me of something. I don't think we already said it. Like when we were just like talking for a minute before the video about things. We weren't taught when and not we didn't talk about the horns in the video yet, but like why she would like replicate. Remember who said about that?
That was me. Yeah.
Okay,
we haven't talked
yeah.
about that yet. So
I was just about to say, yeah.
Yeah. So towards the beginning, she was having a photo shoot and she was wearing like these prosthetic horns. And it was because there was a point she was quite young and she was having a party and everybody else was dressed like princesses and cowboys. And for whatever reason, her mom decided to dress her as like a little devil. And she just looked so miserable in it. And so she's recreating this moment later on, but like she's taking control of it now. Like she is stepping into her role as, and so again, I forgot to say, like there was a Lacan talks about this and like this discord and alienation between the mirror and the everyone else around the atmosphere. And so by being this little devil surrounded by little cowgirls, she is definitely, that's some sort of alienation for sure. And then she's taking back control of that. Like we said, she had a bit of a rough childhood, her mom not giving her as much love, and like this devil choice was interesting to be sure. I wonder, that could even be like symbolic in some way of how, of just her mom's thoughts on children, maybe, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah, I think if her mom, that's some shit my mom would do. If her mom is anything like my mom, she's a full-on narcissist, and that's why she is doing what she does. And I fully understand her.
oh my god.
So
So we're talking a lot about the way Lacan can be applied to Marina specifically, but I found a quote when she was talking about her breakup with her lover. As I said, I don't think we ever found out his name. Really sorry about that.
no, I think wait, her breakup with her. You mean in the beginning of like her
Great
and
Wall.
her childhood?
No, the Great Wall one.
The Great Wall was the guy who held her hand.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought you said we never like found out. I thought you were talking about like
Did we ever find out his name?
no.
Okay, that's fine. All I wanted to say was that when they were going through the breakup, she said something, or during that part of the movie, she said, "We very soon became this great art couple, and everybody was projecting a perfect image. In reality, the better pieces we were doing in performance, the worse our relationship would get in private." And I think that this speaks to Lacan because it's the way her audience projects like the imago onto her, that she's this perfect image, or her relationship is this perfect relationship that they're like striving for, or they're inspired by or attracted to because they want it, because they're lacking it. And I think that just really directly speaks to Lacan as well. Yeah.
I found his name real quick if we wanted to.
Sure.
His name is Frank Uwe Leisipin, but he goes professionally by Ule, or I bet it's like Ule or something.
Got it.
Oh, yeah,
there it
But
is.
he's German artist based in Amsterdam, and Ludwig. So I'm sure it's not pronounced Yule, but I think it's like close enough.
Corey, were you gonna say something?
No, I wasn't. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you started talking.
No, you're good.
Okay, I kind of thought of something that Corey was saying before. However, I didn't know how to like relate it, but I think I kind of figured out how to relate it. When Corey was saying, like, okay, I feel like in like response to this art, people either like are like, holy shit, this is gonna define me. I'm gonna sit in front of her and I'm gonna be cured, or they don't care at all, or they are like, this is not art. We're gonna start shooting people like and calling it art. I feel like I don't remember his name again. I'm gonna say Lacan, but I know it's not.
Lacan.
Like the mirror stage is I feel like probably affects everyone differently, and like everyone's like response to like with either like loving it or like hating it so much are people that are like very much struggling with like that unwholeness. Because if we're like thinking about it, like okay, it's very meaningful. Like I feel like it all is very meaningful, but like these like hold on, let me rephrase because hold on. So the people, remember when the people were like throwing the papers down and it had like this speech and it was like, this is not art or whatever. It's just like that is literally, what are you doing? Like that means nothing to like what, like I just feel like they're trying to add like meaning to like something, and they're either gonna like love it or like, I don't know, try to destroy it. I don't know if that made any sense. It made more sense in my head. I don't think in words. I think in like not words. So I can't really put it out. That's why I can't write essays.
No, I do that too. I did have a thought about the movie, but it's not actually about Lacan. So if someone else wants to talk more about Lacan, I can just throw my thing in later. Or I can just say it now while everyone's thinking.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So just what I was thinking about, just the way that she is like the grandmother of performance art, and that like when she first started her career, everyone was like, this isn't art, like what is this? And then soon enough, she didn't get any questions about it. Didn't she start in like the 70s or 80s doing art? Because I feel like you guys know. Okay. I just feel like it kind of goes along with like postmodernism, like coming in as like a wave of like art, because when shit like that first started to be considered art or like be made into art, nobody got it because nobody was used to that type of performance art. But I think us growing up in the 2010s, 2020s, we don't even bat an eye. Like performance art has been around for so long that we're extremely used to it in this postmodern age. So yeah, that's just what I was thinking about what we were talking earlier, but it wasn't Lacan, so it's like, I don't know.
That's a good connection. Yeah. Way to bring in some other topics. Very cool.
Does anyone have any other items on the agenda? We can finish up a little early if no one else has any ideas, but
we can talk about how Lacan was very much, like we talked in class, like a rereader of Freud. Do we want to like delve into that a little, perhaps?
In what way?
Just like what he reread. Like, I know we talked about Freud in past classes, like sort of like formative experiences, I guess.
Yeah, the fetishism connection,
Yes,
type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we can apply that to Marina's work at all. The like castration fear, like kind of like, I don't know if I subscribe to Freud, guys, but
You don't
kind of
say.
connection.
Nope, lost it.
Do we think that the self-mutilation aspect of it all, because they are really like, she went in with that knife at that certain point and they were running into walls, into each other. There was that weird one where the guy was like
the needle in the eye. I almost like barfed when I saw that.
Yeah. I think that might speak to like she's playing with people's fears. Like she knows that you're gonna have a visceral reaction to that because of, you know, maybe the male fear of castration or whatever Freud said. But I really do think, like, to me, it's a no-brainer that it's art, because if you're making something with the intention of making someone feel a certain way, it's art. It's gonna like send a message. So yeah, that's my opinion on it.
I keep going to say something and I keep immediately forgetting.
I had a quote as well from the film real quick. Somebody had said, when you perform, you have a knife, and it's again, what you reminded me, Mars reminded me of this. It's when you perform, you have a knife and it's your blood. And when you're acting, it's ketchup and you don't cut yourself. I thought was pretty interesting. So then that's again like affirming that the performance is the art piece rather than like acting for this bigger piece that could be considered the artwork, if that makes sense. Like performance art in itself.
Yeah, I definitely think.
Cool. So we're like at time.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching our video about Lacan and Marina Abramović. We loved the documentary. It was quite interesting, really fun to watch. And I hope you had a good time watching.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
What? Okay.
All right. Where's the button? Hold on. There we go.